9 a.m. Monday, November 10th, right here on Jocks. Thanks for tuning in, being a part of the show. Obviously, going to talk some coaching changes, coaching moves, maybe what's coming up, what's going to be open, what's not going to be open that some people think may be. We'll do all that with Pete Nakos here in just a moment. First, I'm going to tell you about Game Day Men's Health. If you're feeling on edge, if you're lacking energy, if you're lacking sleep, Game Day Men's Health wants to help you today. You can go grab a free consultation, and it's easy. Go to GameDayMen'sHealth.com. That's right, GameDayMen'sHealth.com. And all you do is sign up. You go in, free PSA test, free testosterone test. They get all your baselines, let you know where you are, and then they present the options that they have of, hey, weight loss program, here, we can help you get better, get a little bit lighter, walk around feeling better. If it's maybe the peptides that you need to get you going, feel a little bit better each and every day, get the energy up, they can do that for you as well. Game Day Men's Health. Open now in Trustville, but all you need to do to find a location near you is go GameDayMen'sHealth.com, sign up for that free consultation, see how they can help you, and remember, minimal upfront cost for all the programs they offer, and you can save 10% by mentioning Mac and Cube in the morning. All right, let's go to the Higginbotham Hotline. Pete Nakos of the On3 Sports Network joining us now. Great article out Friday on just some of these coaching candidates for a lot of these coaching jobs. But let's start with this, Pete. I think a lot of people thought Florida State would be open today. It's not. How many more bigger jobs during the rest of this regular season are you anticipating are going to come over based on what you're hearing?
Yeah, it seems like we're really only getting started, Cole. I was working the phones yesterday trying to figure out what was going to happen at Florida State. They obviously decided to keep Mike Norvell, at least for another week. I wouldn't rule out a in-season coaching change just yet, but they host Virginia Tech this coming Saturday, so that kind of seems to be where it is right now. But between the dominoes of coaches taking new jobs and pressure points at Florida State, Maryland, Michigan State, among others, I think we're really only getting started here. And beyond all that, too, you look at the, quote unquote elite jobs right now in the market at a Penn State, Florida, LSU, Auburn. I'm probably missing someone because there's so many. There could be a whole cascade of legitimate, tier B jobs that open in the SEC and Big Ten because of the elite jobs that are open right now.
So when you look at some of the jobs that could be coming, at this point of the season, what's the rush? I understand doing it in October. I understand doing it prior to a bye week. I understand the timing, but at this point for Florida State, for example, why do they feel the need to, I guess, allow Mike Norvell to twist in the wind on a week-to-week basis? What is holding them up?
Yeah, he has a $60 million buyout roughly, which would be the second highest in college football history. So I think making sure that all the money's together to afford that is very important. And those conversations started after that loss to Stanford 3 weeks ago. That said, Mike Norvell has a clause in his contract where it says he has to go looking for a new job if Florida were to part ways with him. And that would offset some of the money that Florida State would owe him. So at this point in time, unless Florida State truly thinks that they're going to run it back with Mike Norvell, it's really not adding up on paper while you're keeping him at this point. The other factor here that I'm maybe some people forget about here is if Florida State opens, yes, it will be a top job on the market, but if I'm a head coach and I have a contract offer, I'm not going to wait a few weeks because I hope Florida State might open, and I think that might be a good job. If I can, make a move and get a better pay raise or take a deal in the SEC or something like that now, I'm not going to wait to see if Florida State can open or not. So I think Florida State, if it does plan to open, is doing itself a disservice probably by not making a move right now.
Pete Nakos joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline. I feel like we've heard rumors about Florida. We've heard rumors about LSU, but even that one's starting to die down a little bit as far as what we normally get. Maybe it's because we're still a couple weeks away from the end of the regular season. Not as much buzz flying around Arkansas right now. Does that feel like Hunter Yurachek maybe knows where he's going? Is he not able to get a lot of confidence with guys that he wants to talk to? Or hasn't really liked some of the guys he talked to? Where's Arkansas right now? Because I feel like it's been really quiet out there on this coaching search.
Yeah, Arkansas's been having some conversations with quite a few folks. I think the thing that we're not accustomed to is there's so many jobs open right now, and it's November 10th. Um, the one complication with that is that there's still 3 weeks left of the regular season, and the candidate pool that everyone wants to pull from all has its focus set on trying to make the college football playoff and win a conference title game. So I know for a fact a lot of these coaches that people want are really trying to make an effort to not talk to some of these schools until at least the regular season wraps up, at least until you get to selection Sunday. So Arkansas has done its due diligence. It's talked to quite a few people. It obviously made the run it needed to at Rhett Lashley, but he decided to stay at SMU. I think there's a few Ryan Silverfield and Alex Golish could make a lot of sense at Arkansas. Everyone's heard the buzz about James Franklin. I think James Franklin is really just surveying the landscape at this point and seeing what his options are. Um, I would expect Thanksgiving weekend to see a lot of motion start to come together with the coaching carousel, whether it be the Oklahoma State opening, Arkansas trying to make a move, a few other things like that. But that Friday, Saturday, Sunday after Thanksgiving, when we're all eating our leftovers, I think is going to be a pretty busy weekend.
It's going to be insane. I can't wait to see how crazy it is. The coordinator conversations around some of these guys just it sounds like the coordinators I continue to keep hearing about being in the mix for head coaching jobs are Colin Klein, obviously at Texas A&M. A lot of people think he's going to get one this year. Brian Hartline at Ohio State, offensive coordinator. People feel like he's likely going to get one this year. And I'm starting to hear Kane Womack at Alabama a couple times. I've heard him few. There's a few others coordinators
Yeah.
that are being considered. Blake Baker at LSU is another one. Like, how many coordinators do you think will ultimately get jobs going into this cycle?
Yeah, you got Will Stein at Oregon too, who I think is going to be
Yeah, Will
the most
Stein. Yeah, I'm
popular.
sorry. I knew there was
Yeah.
one more.
No, you're all
Yeah,
good.
good call.
I would say that him and Hartline have a chance to be the most popular this cycle. I really think it depends on the school. Um, Look at a place like Penn State, for example. They obviously let James Franklin go. They've cast a very wide net. They're trying to take some big swings. Could a coordinator hire who elevates their recruiting game and portal acquisition, could that make a huge difference in the amount of games they can win every year? I think those are some of the conversations going on right now. I think with the coordinator hire stuff specifically, it's all about too, like, you know, what have they done in recruiting, but also how is their offense performing? Oregon slugged it out at Iowa over the weekend. Ohio State's rolling. You did bring up Kane Womack. He has some head coaching experience. The defense is playing at a really high level. Only allowed 9 points against LSU. Um, I could see him making a move to get a new job too. But I just say with the coordinator hires, let's see what Lane does. Let's see what some of these other really popular Power Four Group of Six head coaches do, and then I could see some opportunities for some coordinators to have a chance to make a move if they want.
So when you look at the Auburn job right now, Pete Nakos of the On3 Sports Network joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline. How do you view it? Where do you view it? How do you handicap it? How does this thing look like it's going to play out to you as we sit here today?
Yeah, Cole. I think a lot of people watched that Vanderbilt Auburn game on Saturday afternoon and thought to themselves, how did Auburn not find success under Hugh Freeze with the amount of talent on the field, specifically Cam Coleman? And there's a lot of buzz about Deuce Knight. I think that job's attractive if you can keep that roster together, and I'm well aware that's the toughest challenge in college football these days. Um, but the amount of talent on that roster mixed with what Auburn's willing to commit in NIL definitely makes it an attractive job. I'd put it up there with LSU and Florida as three of the more attractive jobs this cycle. Um, in terms of where they're at in their search, I tell you that the AD John Cohen's probably just in, the early stages of just trying to vet a lot of names, trying to figure out what direction they want to go in. It's tough. I know we've heard a lot about it. John Summerall, Jeff Brom's name has popped up, a few others. I feel like a lot of these openings that we have right now, I know I'm on the phone every day. I'm trying to write the updates and everything. I just say that we're in a holding pattern at a lot of these schools right now where they're talking to a lot of people, they're vetting a lot of people, and a lot of people just want to see how some moves start to shuffle out and things like that. And I think we still might be another week away from really getting a great, perspective about how this is all going to shuffle out.
All right, Pete, we appreciate the time. Always good catching up with you. Thanks for giving us some insight into some of these coaching changes. You did write that article,
You
though,
bet.
on candidates that are out there. So I want to reference that. Give you a guy or two that people aren't talking enough about that you feel like is going to be a home run hire for whoever gets them, whoever lands them. A guy who might not be a shoe-in for one specific job, but you sit there and wonder whoever gets him or gets these 2 or 3 guys, these are going to be home runs.
Yeah, you got Eric Morse at North Texas, who's a really hot name for a few of these jobs. And I just, I don't know if his name's coming up a ton in the national spotlight, even though he's going to get one of these jobs. And I'm pretty confident that wherever he goes, there's a chance that, maybe his quarterback goes with him. And I think that duo could win a lot of football games next year. I think we've seen that work before with some other coaches. Um, Other names for you, I'll be really interested to see what Matt Patricia does. I mean, what they got going on right now on the Ohio State defense at a really high level has been fun to watch. I know he's only in his first season in college ball, but the success that he's had quickly and what they possibly could do in the postseason, I think could turn him into a hot name in a carousel where we could see something like 40 jobs open up.
All right, Pete. Thanks, man. Appreciate the time. Look
Thanks,
forward to
Cole.
catching up with
See
you
you
again
guys.
soon. There you go. Pete
Yep.
Nakos joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline from the On3 Sports Network, talking coaching changes and potentially where some of these jobs are going to end up going. We'll talk more about them, who we think maybe ends up where, and more from SEC games over the weekend. That's all next right here on Jocks. All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Monday, November 10th, 9:15, right here on Jocks. Still a lot of college football to get to, and we've already talked a little bit of Alabama LSU. We'll come back to that one across the course of the show today. Also come back to a little bit of Auburn and Vanderbilt. Wanted to just kind of kick around the Southeastern Conference here over the next couple of segments. You can be a part of the show, 800-239-9569. 800-239-WJOX if you want to text into the show, 205-834-9450. Your reaction on any of the games from this weekend, how they looked, what you liked, didn't like, maybe what else you need to see from a couple of these other teams. Texas A&M takes out Missouri 38-17. I didn't really think, Greg, with a backup quarterback, that Mizzou was going to be able to do too much. Ahmad Hardy looked great for Mizzou, some tough yards, physical runs. I thought A&M did a nice job sort of spiking the stretch zone play at the defensive end edge spot where you either make them spill it and head to the sideline or they got to cut too early. Did a really nice job with that. And as I stated, Matt Zoller's just not comfortable in the pocket. 7 of 22, 77 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions, didn't have time to set up. Not a true run game to really lean on and build off of inside that Missouri offense, even though Hardy went 13 of 109. He had two big runs, essentially, to get to that. 464 yards to 284 yards. Did we learn a lot about A&M from this game? Are there big takeaways from you here? I mean, it's a road conference win. It's a good football. It's a talented football team. I don't know how good they are with Zollers in the lineup. I think they were pretty good with Perbula. I think you take a big step back with him in the lineup. It really does change who and what they are. You got there and all of a sudden, run for 77 yards with sacks. Just not going to be able to keep you competitive in games. But 38-17, confident win for A&M. What were your big takeaways for the Aggies here?
I thought it was a great win. To me, and Aggie fans were all upset about it. No, it was a gutsy win. It was a tight game for 28 minutes, and the sack fumble flips everything on its head there at the very end, and it's now 14-0 as opposed to 7-0 or 7-3 at that point, trying to end a half by stealing a couple points. And now 14-0, you get the ball coming out the second half, or you force a 3 and out, and then all of a sudden you hit a 3rd and 6 tunnel screen to the house. It's 21-0. When A&M flips the switch, it's remarkably impressive. And I think there's probably outside of, I don't even know if it's outside of anybody right now. One of my biggest takeaways is in-game coaching. Coach that gives their players and their team the best chance to win on game day. Tell me a coach that's doing a better job than Mike Elko right now. Making situational tweaks, stealing a possession here or there, making sure that special teams is a huge factor. Tell me, obviously the fake punt this past weekend, opportunistic on 3rd down and 4th down. Tell me a coach right now who's coaching better than Mike Elko.
Well, I wouldn't even say just Elko, but his staff also. I think Colin Klein's doing a really good job of now blending the offense. Some people would say, well, dink and dunk, easy throws, whatever. But it's when you have those receivers, you'd be a fool not to go out there and find high percentage throws for those guys. And then, utilizing the tight ends right over the middle of the field and taking advantage of space in zone coverage there when they decide to add in quarterback run and, not try to go out there and just force feed Marcel Reed on the ground to different people. So I feel like, too, and I will say this, I left this particular game a little bit concerned about something, but I will also say that the group they're playing against had a little something to do with that. When you see individually, number one, what they're able to do at the running back position and what some of the guys in front of them are capable of doing on their own at different points in times, they should not struggle in short yardage. It should not be a problem for them. And there's just been – I've noticed it a couple times this year. I noticed it a little bit in this game. Ruin Obens is a great one-cut downhill back. He gets to full speed very quickly. He does a nice job pressing the line of scrimmage. He had 2 runs where – he gives this little head bob or this little one cut in the backfield to make the linebacker wrong and then gets going the direction that he's going to, and it opens up a lot of yards for him. It's hard to really
Yeah.
tell people about that and how he does it or show it, but it's like you see the intricacies of how he he lures a defender into a different area that he's not going, and it works. But that group should be able to push people. They should be able to lean on people. And then two, if you're able to go, +1 with an extra blocker and go quarterback run, you really shouldn't struggle in short yardage running the football. I'm a little concerned about that. Now, we take that, and how many games is that realistically going to cost them? I don't know. But, I know the further you go, big moments like that are going to be bigger and bigger in big games. So you're going to need third down conversions, fourth down conversions. You're going to need touchdowns instead of field goals. That's we're nitpicking here, guys. We're talking about a top 3 team in college football. So this is admittedly very nitpicky. That and then some of the layups that the quarterback misses. They're just you got a flare to the running back in the flat, and it's it's over there near the bench. And there are a couple drops too now by these receivers and running backs out of the backfield where they got to clean those up. But it's a great win. I thought it was a really nice win. I came away impressed with the defense. And like I said, I'll give them a little bit of slack offensively because Chris McClellan can play, man. Tristan Newsome is as downhill of a linebacker. He and Trotter both that you're going to get in this league. I thought Trotter trying to play under a couple of blocks really hurt Mizzou in this game. But, Zion Young obviously off the edge. He can get it. We know what Damon Wilson can do off the edge. So it's a tough group to play against. And I'll give him a little slack. Sterling Webb can play number 10 for Mizzou. He doesn't turn his shoulders. He just gets north and south. He's a problem to deal with inside. So I'll give him a little slack there. But I've noticed this in multiple games now where they should be able to convert, I don't want to say easily, but consistently in short yardage, and they just don't come up with the yards that I feel like they need to be getting.
Yeah, and I think when you look at it, there's a lot to like. I'm talking a lot to like about A&M. I don't know how you defend their offense. They cut you in half every single snap.
Yep.
It's truly amazing. I have so much respect for how they attack you, the lateral stuff, the being able to knife it up inside with Reuben Owens on the downhill. I think as they evolve and as the season gets going, I'd be highly surprised if this team doesn't eventually evolve into becoming a little bit more of a quarterback run-centric outfit. I think that's coming. I don't know if it's there yet. Of course, they didn't need it this past weekend, but I think that's going to be who they are at some point this year. In gotta-have-it mode, probably, SEC championship game against Texas, and a game that you might need to get to the SEC championship game in the playoff. I think Marcel Reed's an 8 to 10 carry a game guy. I just don't know if they need to be that right now. So I think
that'll increase the further they go. Yeah, like you're saying, the further they go, that goes up. First round of the playoff,
the
4 to 6.
This offense is encouraging.
Yeah, first round of the playoff, 4 to 6. Second round of the playoff, like you said, 6 to 10, and then you're 10 plus the rest of the way through. Maybe that starts a little bit earlier.
Probably.
But yeah, then that's like they told us early in the year. They didn't want him to be that. They wanted him to be a pocket passer. He's become better at that. And I think you're seeing defenses have to play them different ways now because they know the thing where he gets you the most is when he how and when he decides to leave, when it's not a design run.
Yeah.
Because it just he has a little bit of that Jaden Daniels where he gets out of the pocket so fast when he ultimately decides to leave that you don't have time to really retrace and go make a play at the line of scrimmage when he's trying to leave. If you try to or work with a spy, you're just going to have a hard time catching up with him because he understands angles of getting out of the pocket really well. And so those are the things that I think he does extremely well. I'm a little concerned. You're more concerned about some of the decisions with him. I'm more concerned just about the accuracy of certain throws. Like it just seems to fall off on a cliff on every couple throws. Like just all of a sudden it's a dirt ball on a comeback route, like 4 yards in front of the receiver. And you're just like, how? That would be kind of, I don't even know if I say it as a concern, Greg, more than it is just a question. It's like you see some of those throws and you're just like, hold on a second. Like how is it that far off? And you get about 3 or 4 a game and you're just like, man.
My thing is you don't, and maybe I'm nuts. you don't lose games by throwing in completions. You lose games by turning the ball over. And when he's throwing a shallow cross where not one but two defenders can intercept the pass in the red zone, that's a concern for me. Like, and he's already thrown a pick in the end zone against LSU. Like, to me, it's a decision. I think A&M if they play their best can beat anybody. No doubt about it. Like, if they play their best game, they can win the national championship. I really believe that. But I also think that this is a team that can at times be their own worst enemy, whether that's over pursuing in the run game, allowing cutback lanes to be taken advantage of, whether it's their quarterback throwing into traffic and maybe getting a little too aggressive, making a bad decision, flipping the game on its head by being inaccurate, and all of a sudden the ball is going out the other way. Like, I think this team, if they just play their best, they're a real threat to go and win the whole thing, which is very exciting. But I also think this is a team that does kind of live by the sword a bit, and they do occasionally give up a couple chunk plays because of their aggressiveness defensively, and they do occasionally have a quarterback that will throw it into traffic like that. That's my only fear, is them beating themselves in a high stakes environment against really good competition that will make you pay for those mistakes.
Well, it wasn't even the one ball that you're referencing could have been picked off. You also have, I mean, I think it ended up being a touchdown, one where he kind of like half rolls to his left. It's like just a super dangerous throw down near the end zone. And if that hook flat defender is playing him a little bit better, that's one that could end up being dangerous. And like you said, turnovers in big games magnified times 100, and something that he's just not going to be able to get away with, not going to be able to do. They also, I'll tell you this, they have breakdowns in protection sometimes, and it's easy to compliment it because he turns it into a 14-yard run. But the free runners and some of the protection breakdowns, whether it's him not seeing it, a back not seeing it, an offensive lineman not seeing it, like those are the other things too, where there's going to be one where he's not looking, and you're going to get a Blake Shapen hit on him at some point, like we had over the weekend. And not only is it going to end up going the other way, but he might not finish the game. And we can imagine what their offense is going to look like without him in it. So very nitpicky things there. Obviously, not saying that those are going to force them to lose 3 more games down the stretch or anything of that nature, but it's when you start talking about winning a national championship, these are things you need to talk about. These are things you need to discuss, and how much of them are going to help you, how much of them could potentially hurt you, and that's kind of where we are with A&M right now. But nonetheless, a nice win. They get to 9-0 on the season, 38-17 at Mizzou. First time that they've been 9-0 since 1992. So some historic things happening there, and taking a look at kind of what's going on there. Some more unfortunate news in the state as it pertains to college basketball. We'll get to that and more next right here on Jocks. Monday, November 10th, 9:32 where I am, 8:32 where you are there in Birmingham. I'm in Charlotte getting ready for Read and React tonight on the SEC Network with Roman Harper. Be sure to check that one out as we'll discuss multiple things from over the weekend, maybe begin to look ahead a little bit as well. Kentucky takes down Florida 38-7. You and I mentioned it briefly earlier, Greg, that we didn't see this one coming. Kentucky gets to 4-5 on the season, which is interesting because you get Tennessee Tech. By the way, anybody want to take a shot at Tennessee Tech's record right now?
Oh, goodness. Well, I know they lost to UT Martin
No,
last
they
week.
did
I know
not.
that.
No, they did not.
Or was that Tennessee State?
Tennessee Tech, the Golden Eagles,
8-1?
10-0.
Oh,
10-0?
10-0. I'm just saying.
That's
be
an
careful,
unblemished
Kentucky.
record.
Be careful, Kentucky. Okay, they'll get
You're
that
not
one.
kidding. You're,
They'll
I
get
was
that
gonna
one,
say.
but then you're at Vandy, which stylistically, how Brad White operates defensively. You know, I don't see Diego Pavia having another game like he's had the last 2 weeks. They're not going to give him those things down the field quite as much. They don't give you the matchups on the perimeter like Tennessee did to be able to take advantage of. And then, you know, I think Kentucky kind of built for that style fight with Vandy, and then you get Louisville on the road as well. So both on the road, but man, Greg, you're going to get Tennessee Tech. Can you get one of the last two? All of a sudden, Mark Stoops got his team bowling. He was fired 3 weeks ago, essentially. He was done. Had to get him out. Couldn't win games. And what a turnaround that would be if he can get Tennessee Tech and then find a way to get either at Vandy or at Louisville the rest of the way through.
I mean, I think he's going to get it. I think he's going bowling. Call me
Well, I
crazy,
think they'll be there
I
too.
like their matchup
No,
against
I'm with
Louisville.
you. I like their matchup against Vanderbilt. You look at how their edges play. You know, Steven Souls and those guys, like they're physical on the edge, like they're going to play the pullers extremely well. They're gonna. You go back and look how they played Auburn. They made decisions on how they were going to crash the mesh point or slow play it. Like they forced your hand in some of those type plays against those type offenses. And I just think physically they'll be able to hold up. I mean, I don't really see Vandy pushing them around. Now, I think Vanderbilt's defense can be a little bit problematic for them at the same time because Cutter Boley, not necessarily a guy that can consistently stretch the field, but I mean, Seth McGowan, Dante Dowdle went 7 for 104 on the ground. McGowan was 22 for 92, 2 touchdowns. Cutter Boley, 18 to 23, did have the one pick, but it's I kind of think that they are built to be in both of those games. So I'm with you. I think they get one of them. I think the team just has a little bit of a different mentality right now. It's kind of cool to see. It's not going to be a hot story that a lot of people want to talk about the rest of the way through, but could lead us talking about Mark Stoops being back in Lexington next year.
I think he's going to be back. I'd be surprised if he wasn't. I think the $38 million buyout is prohibitive, so barring something completely unforeseen. And this team has been competitive. I mean, I know that there were a couple games there. South Carolina game was disappointing. Georgia game was disappointing. But they gave Texas all they wanted. There's been progress made there. And this was a big breakthrough this past weekend. And I think momentum can be created off of this past weekend's breakthrough. So I'd be really surprised if he's not there next year. And I'd also be surprised if they're not in the postseason.
I would be there with you. And I think that they're going to get that done. Kentucky was 8 of 12 on third downs. They outgained Florida 401 to 27. I mean, when we talked about this game last week, this is number one. This is not the style game we thought was coming here. Like this is not what we thought we were going to get. Now you look at the rushing numbers, 233 to 104. That also not really what we thought we were going to get in this game. But DJ Lagway, 11 of 19, 83 yards, 1 touchdown, 3 picks. Ran 5 times for 27 yards. I disagreed with trying to press at the end of the half. He ends up leading to another interception for him, Greg. His feet kind of all over the place, just not comfortable. A little bit of a bad spot I thought you had to put him in, but you get 2 of your younger receivers. Ventrell Brown actually played. Aiden Maisel plays. They didn't know if they were going to go. But it was kind of tough to watch from a Lagway perspective for Florida Saturday night.
Yeah, I hadn't watched the tape yet. I have watched the condensed game, and it was ugly. But his feet have been a bit of a mess all season long. I mean, starting with the USF game, which I believe was week 2, his feet have been a problem. and they've kind of been all over the place. It's been weird. I don't know really how else to describe it. It's been weird because last year he was able to get away with it. His feet weren't great, but there's been no progress made. Like, you can tell the guy didn't have an off season. You know, he just looks uncomfortable. I don't know how else to describe it. He just looks very uncomfortable. So that's, I think, the big key is getting him comfortable at some point in the offseason for the next coach. If Lagway's back, assuming he is, he's got to be sound and stable in the pocket. And whatever you need to do to make sure that happens, you need to make it happen, because the accuracy is never going to be good when your feet aren't set.
It's so wild to just sit there and watch that team with Lagway and Jaden Ball. I mean, obviously having Dallas Wilson for a short time earlier in the season, and just where they are now. It's just weird to see because the talent is all over the place. You know, Tyreek Sapp, other guys defensively. It's just it's weird to see kind of where that team is, just kind of based on what we feel like they could have been and what they had the talent to be. But either way, a pretty nice one for Kentucky as they'll move forward now, try to get bowl eligible with 3 games left. Some bad news in state over the weekend. Samford goes down to ETSU 38-14. We're fans of Chris Hatcher. 62 wins at Samford, program record in 11 seasons. He's got 182 wins all time as a college head coach. Relieved of his duties there over in Homewood as the head coach of the Bulldogs. Chris Hatcher no longer going to be there. Interim will be announced. 1-9 on the season. They're at Austin Peay this week. They were outgained 600 to 312 against ETSU, who's now 5-5. Outrushed 237 to 56. Jacoby Criswell, yes, you've heard that name. 19 to 30, 261, 2 touchdowns, no picks. Ran 6 times for 31 yards. And Jake McNamara, 3 of 5 for 32 yards. You've heard that name as well. Both quarterbacks for ETSU. Tough one, tough season. GMAC, we hate it for Hatcher, but unfortunately, this is the nature of the business.
Yeah, it's a bummer, man. I mean, it stinks because he had it going so good. You know what I mean? He had it going, and just for whatever reason, the bottom fell out this year. I know they lost a lot of folks off last year's team, but it's hard to kind of wrap your head around just how low the floor has gotten for this team this year. It's really disappointing. Love Hatch and just hate that this is the result.
Yeah, hate it for him. Wish him the best moving forward, and we'll keep you posted on where Samford may go next as far as their next head football coach. Ole Miss 49-0 over Citadel. I don't know if there's a ton of takeaways here. I mean, you kind of handle your business. You're facing essentially a wing T offense, and you shut it down. Defensively, thought they did some good things, but you stay healthy for the most part. And I think that's just the big story, GMAC, is that, hey, get this win, get your guys healthy, get some reps for some of the younger guys that you might need. You know, some of the extra tight ends got good reps. They're going to lean on some of those guys moving forward. Lacey, 11 carries, 3 touchdowns. Chambliss was great, going for 333. Couple guys defensively, like Centarian Perkins, really good again, especially against that style offense. He was great for him. Uman Mielen played well also. Nothing huge to really to note here on your end, is there, from the Ole Miss 49-0 over Citadel?
No. Hadn't seen the tape.
Okay. Well, then you can tell us about Shannara Flooring.
All right, Shannara Flooring, Fu and his guys continue to deliver incredible opportunities. When you look at what Fu has done in stockpiling inventory, 50,000 square feet of Core-Tech flooring by Shaw in stock. You can go and get it now by going to fuandyou.com. They have, because of that inventory, and that Core-Tech is really nice stuff, they're passing the savings on to you. They don't want that inventory sitting around all the way through the first of the year. They want to get it gone, and they want to make sure that you are the beneficiary with the savings of 20 to 40%. It's a deal you just can't touch. So remember Shannara Flooring. When you want Core-Tech, call who? Call Fu. Call Shannara Flooring at 205-518-6423 or go online at fuandyou.com. Did you learn anything from the Ole Miss game?
Like I said, a couple of the other tight ends kind of coming on. I don't think you're going to – like Daquan Wright's done a lot for them this year. So
yeah, he has.
Caleb Odom playing a little bit of tight end. He's that hybrid, big receiver, flex tight end type guy. Luke Haas continues to sort of get in the mix. Trace Bruckler, transfer from, I think, Montana State, maybe. Can't remember where he came from, but he played in this game a little bit and did some good things. So I just think they're going to need more of those bodies moving ahead. They're going to need some more bonus bigs to be able to help them with different things, whether it's, facing off a team that has a legitimate pass rush and you need them to help in pass protection, or, whether that's just catching some balls, helping in the run game a little bit. Daquan Wright can't be the only one that's playing tight end for him moving ahead. He carried that load for too long of a period of time this season. And, two, I just think staying sharp, staying focused. The offense was clean, man. Like, Chambliss was clean. He had some rough starts over the last couple of weeks. Didn't really have one in this game. And like I said, the defensive guys being able to operate in different ways. Andrew Maddox did some good things up front for him. And then just Perkins. I feel like we talk about Perkins every week. He's just such a good football player. And playing against more of a wing T spread option style offense, he was able to stay at home, make plays, do some good things for him. I mean, nothing that's going to change your opinion about them moving forward. No, they handled their business, which is, I always think, if you can say that about a team, you get some other guys some reps, there you go. Now you get Florida.
Anything to be concerned about with the matchup this weekend, though? Like, is there anything that you think after studying Florida this weekend and knowing how that game went
Not after what
last
I saw in the second half of a team that looked like they were completely checked out. No, I don't. I said I thought that was a tough one for them a couple weeks ago, but from what I saw from Florida in the second half, I'd be real concerned about where that team is the rest of the year. They did not seem interested in the second half of that game. And a couple of easy ways to see it. The pass rush really slowed down. The way they took on pullers in the second half, not great at all. So, not trying to pick on them. I understand it's tough where they are right now, but you got a quarterback who's apparently not seeing it and not comfortable. You got a defense that can attack but was choosing not to in the second half of that game. So, yeah, no, I don't. I'm not at home. I'm not worried about that one. You and I said it a couple weeks ago. The Egg Bowl is going to be their toughest contest left. After Oklahoma, it was the Egg Bowl.
Well, I don't know if it is after seeing what I saw from Mississippi State this weekend, though, either.
It's also fair. It's also fair.
I mean, that was a really tough watch, given my expectations of improvement from Mississippi State's defense, and to see them get gashed on the ground like that, man, was really tough to watch. And they gave up a lot of yardage.
Yeah,
on the ground.
Let's get to that one on the other side. We'll discuss Georgia, Mississippi State, and kind of finish up the SEC for this week next, right here on Jocks. All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. Appreciate you guys being with us. One other SEC game to discuss that we have not hit yet, and that is Georgia at Mississippi State. We thought there were ways it could be competitive. We thought there were ways that Mississippi State could sort of make this thing interesting. They don't. 41-21, Georgia gets the win, and you stated it, Greg, on the ground. Nate Frazier goes 12 for 181. A couple of big runs busted. I will say this. I thought the Georgia offensive line was really good in some short yardage situations, some inside runs. They were able to get some good movement. And this Mississippi State's defense is not built for this right now. Like they don't have the size, they don't have the girth overall to be able to withstand what Georgia's got. And I'm going to tell you this: when you look at that Georgia offensive line and the guys who they are playing, and then even more so, I couldn't believe the next group they brought in. I was like, where do they keep getting these guys? I mean, they had two just mammoths that come into the game later when they're rolling in their second group, and they have gotten really big on the offensive line. And we've talked a little bit about Juan Gaston, the freshman this year, who's doing a really nice job. Like when he gets latched on to people, you go backwards. John Cho Glover, another freshman, is a guy that's just really going to move you and be problematic for you. So I think just being that big physical bunch, Greg, that Mississippi State they just weren't going to be able to hold up front. I mean, they played hard. I'll give them credit. They ran themselves out of some plays, and misdirection got them a little bit, but physically, just that's not the matchup for them right now.
And I think when you look at Mississippi State, I think they're one of the most improved teams in the country. They are. They have improved drastically. But it was a fatal flaw that came to fruition, and it was an inability to basically guess around some of their movement stuff. I mean, they just got absolutely gashed time and time again. It felt like every time Georgia handed it to Nate Frazier, there was 5 yards in either direction. The holes were enormous, and it was kind of a tough watch, frankly, like from a defensive standpoint. Like guys were getting moved. Guys were getting pushed. I think the secondary held up okay. They held up all right. But in the front seven, man, I mean, they were just getting pushed around. And you got to give credit to Georgia. I mean, that's a really stout group that has clearly improved. But I don't know, man. It was hard to kind of unsee that one.
It's and you get your quarterback hurt, which your left tackle just gets beat on an inside move. There were some other free runners at the quarterback that they've had some issue with this year. And listen, Blake Shapen has decent mobility. I mean, he can break you down with his legs. I do think that when you get Kamario Taylor in, he brings a little extra in the run game. But I'll say this: there's a couple guys like that you enjoy watching with Mississippi State. Fluff Bothwell he runs hard, man. Like he gets north south in a hurry. He gets to full speed in a hurry. He's not afraid of contact. And then Brylan Lanier, number 3, the safety for Mississippi State. They got a couple guys on defense that just will run into a brick wall, but that dude has no regard for his body. Like he's coming up taking on pullers. He's coming up, just laying his body on the line to make tackles from all the way across the field. I respect the effort still. This was an ugly game for them. Again, not the style ball game that they are really built to be able to withstand and manage. We said they were going to need to hit their shot plays. Got 1 or 2, but left about 3 or 4 on the table. And they were gonna have to have almost all of those, Greg, to stay in this game.
Yeah, for sure. And I think another thing too, like if those plays aren't there, like what's the other avenue? Like you got to be able to like have a curveball, right? And if for whatever reason you're not creating those plays that you just described, you got to be able to find another avenue and another path to victory. And I'm not sure they're at that point in their program development to get there yet.
I think it's just tempo is the only other thing, because the tempo is going to allow the run game to go a little bit. They're not really running the ball because of their offensive line. They're running the ball because of spacing, because of tempo, and the things that they create there. And that's one of those things where I think there's a couple of teams around college football we've talked about that with that just they don't have that other pitch to be able to go out there and win games with.
Right.
So we'll see. I still think they're a dangerous team. Still think they can be a good football team.
No question.
But on the flip side of this, I tweeted this out yesterday, and I'm still getting them. This is one of those college football narratives that's never going away. Like, no matter what happens, it's not going away. But Mike Bobo is doing a hell of a job with this offense right now. And I don't know why people don't want to give him credit for it. But it's kind of similar to Alabama. Like, they run everything. And they give you reads and options on almost every play that they run. Like, you were talking about A&M being tough to defend. I almost put Georgia in that category a little bit. Like, they can go north-south quarterback run. They can go, zone read, quarterback option to keep it, throw it. They got RPOs. They have option throws before the snap, like pre-snap reads of, are you going to throw the screen? You're going to hand it off the opposite direction. Like, they make you play all the way to both sidelines. And Gunnar Stockton's getting a little better over the middle of the field. He'll throw you deep balls. I mean, you saw the young tight end, number 10, make a play this week. So I don't think he's getting enough credit, man, for what he's doing. He's doing a really nice job.
I agree. I think it's been really strong. And I know, look, I'm not sure what they want. I mean, this is not Florida where they want to score 60. I guess I just don't really know, because maybe in a couple games they've maybe been a touch too conservative in their eyes. But I think the utilization of the tight ends, I think some of the misdirection stuff. I love Gunnar Stockton, by the way. I just think he's a great football player. I think he's excellent. And even on throws that are incomplete, he puts them where his guys can make a play. Like, he gives the guys a chance, like on almost every throw. And Bobo's a direct result of the play calling and the quarterback coaching, the hands-on quarterback coaching that Stockton's receiving. Like, I don't know why Bobo gets no credit for Stockton playing at such a high level early in his career as a starter. Like, I think he's been great.
He's been awesome, and I feel like I put Gunnar Stockton in, even though he's a quarterback, he's never going to truly be underrated. But I kind of put him in that Cedric Alexander category of just guys that need more discussion of how well they're playing, because he gets the ball out quick. He's working a lot of plays with options on them, whether it's handoff, keep it, handoff, throw it, where to throw it, putting defenders in conflict. And then he gives you his, hey, I'm just going to go make a play every now and then. Also, like, the big play capability from him just, like, keeps showing up. And I don't think Bobo's getting credit. I don't think Gunnar Stockton's getting enough credit for how well they're playing this year.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, I think Stockton's been as efficient as almost any quarterback in all of college football. From a decision to run standpoint, contributing with his legs, accuracy, decision-making. Like, I love that kid.
Been playing good football. I don't think there's any doubt about it. And Georgia, will be right there in the middle of a national championship hunt. One of those guys that got in later in the game, G-Mac, that I was telling you about, check out number 64 at left tackle for Georgia. Jazair Jackson, 6'10", 350.
Oh, my goodness. That's a tank.
That might be the barge that the tank rides on. Back with more next.